Since the last meeting, I think the board instructed us to investigate potential purchase of a property. We've made some progress on that, and we can discuss that at the executive session after the meeting if you want. In addition, there's a few litigation matters. One is against the Clemens family, case number 1997-276. There have been some developments in that case, and a new filing by Blackjack Construction, case number 2015-4480.
What's the first case number?
1997-276.
2776?
No, 276.
276.
And those can all be discussed at the executive session if you guys would like to.
Thank you, Chris.
By the way, congratulations on the birth of your son.
So, yes, thank you very much.
First time father.
He's a new father.
Thank you. He and his mom are doing well. I need a break by being here.
So you're not charged?
All right, anything on new business? Oh, yeah. Good information. Mr. Schrader and I went up and looked at the soccer fields in Klingberg Park, and the fields are in great shape. But in between all the fields, it just ends abruptly at the edge of the field line, and it's just raw. Soil was never raked or graded, and it was never planted, and it's just weeds as high as your waist, and it just looks unsightly. There's clumps and rocks and things in there that they can go in and cut it. So who's ever cutting the field, because it's the soccer, I mean, they couldn't take them over in there if they wanted to. And we have money in that account that's probably spent on those fields with the grant money. So we got a proposal from Fairfield Landscaping. He does our work up there for mowing all that area, spraying, killing all the weeds, fine grade perimeter of the fields, and rock hounded using existing soil. Rock hounded, that's that machine.
Picks up all the rocks.
Yes, it gets ready, the seed bed ready for planting. Hydroseed areas with contractors mix. There's approximately 20,000 square feet of reclamation he has to do, which is almost a half an acre, and all those strips added up. And it comes to $5,813.
No, he was talking about doing the hydroseeding like in September here, in August, September.
End of August.
It's
It's going to be done the end of August.
for the fall planting, basically.
August 25th.
We'll put that
I
date.
said that last year.
We'll put that
The old
date.
problems we had because you didn't do it.
If you go along with this, we'll put that date in the motion. August 25th, that has to be seeded.
That's coming out of the soccer field account.
Yes.
Yeah, correct. It has 56,000.
Talk to the microphone, please.
It has 56,000. I think it's a capital revenue contract. It has that money left in it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to give that contract to Fairfield Landscaping for $5,813. And seconded, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Anything else?
I have a couple of things, old and new. Number one, we seem to have, at least at this point, a lot of money in our CDs, but a lot more, well, not a lot more, but we're carrying up over $2.5 million, I think, in our general account. I'd like for us to transfer over a portion to one of the CDs that we have, Slovenian Savings and Loan, to get a good interest rate on them.
50%.
Right?
50%? You want to take 50% of the general fund balance?
Well, since all these things just hit us tonight, do we have any big money coming in that you know of in the next month?
No.
I'm going to suggest then that we put $500,000 in a CD, or if not that, if we think that's too much, at least the impact fee, the $311,000, put it in the impact fee CD.
That might be better. We do have a bill that we just approved tonight for Youngblood, $500,000. you.
I'm aware of it.
So, yeah, I can hear you putting something.
So we're talking, what's our final motion? To move the LSA money, the impact, I'm sorry, the impact fee money, right, okay,
Yeah.
from the Act 13.
Yeah, and should the existing CD for the impact fee money.
All right.
I'll also ask you, let me know when you do it, the interest rates are more. We can get more, and I think maybe we can get on all the accounts we have.
Okay.
Do we still have access to that money without any penalty?
Yes, we do.
No penalty for early withdrawal.
It's that one kind you're talking about.
All of them are no penalty for early withdrawal.
I don't see the problem with it at all.
In the form of a motion authorizing the transfer.
I make that motion.
I'll say.
Moved and seconded, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries.
And the other thing that I wanted, there are two other issues that I wanted to bring up. First of all, I had asked at the prior meeting, I had known this, that we received information as to blighted properties from the residents who are aware of them and know the areas better. I know some of them. I think that some of them have been called in. Do we have a list of this, Dawn, of the people who have called in regarding blighted properties? Not high grass, but blighted properties, unoccupied, poor condition.
Teresa was to keep a list, and at last count, no one had called in about, I'm sorry, there was one person that called in about one, what they considered a dilapidated, unoccupied structure.
Well, I called to him, and she should have it. Shortly after this came in, or after our last meeting, there was a big article in the paper. I don't think that I brought it, but money was available for tearing down blighted properties. Did any of you see it?
Was that using the CDBG funds?
I'm not sure.
It was.
It was. We've used, Cecil has used that in the past as well.
Okay, well, this is something that we ought to explore again.
Boy, we committed our next round to Lawrence.
All right, well, we're not talking about big money in any event.
Right, you're not. Sometimes it's only $6,000 or $12,000 for demolition.
Okay, so do we have to approve a, what's the board called? Chris, you said that we should do the maintenance board or whatever it was?
Yes, we need to appoint a property maintenance ordinance appeals board.
Do we have to do that in order to proceed to condemn these properties?
Once you actually proceed with it, they appeal,
Pardon?
Excuse me?
correct? Once you actually proceed with something and somebody would appeal, then you have to have that board.
That would be one option. The ordinance is drafted in a way that there does not need to be a standing appeals board. If possible, though, it's always a good idea having something in place beforehand.
We all need to come up with some names of somebody that you've talked to who would be willing to serve on that board. We should have it established, and it could be just a standing appointed board, and if they're needed, they'll come out.
So how do we proceed with these one or two we presumably have?
We go through normal channels. We don't need that board.
Okay, what are the normal channels?
So we get several, condemnation. I think we just talked about it, like the Cheney property.
Well, is this something that we can move on? Can we notify the owners?
Yeah, that ends up being the first step, but if they're going to cooperate, then it goes smoothly. If they're not, then
Well, we need to start by notifying the owners. Let me know who it is, or properties there are.
You said there were two that you would give me? Okay.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up was there have been a number of articles in the paper recently about, well, it started out about a year ago. I'm trying to remember what city it was. I know they were doing it in Paris, and there's somewhere in the United States, one of the larger cities, that have goats in their, around their airports. You have the look on his face. Trimming the grass, keeping the grass trimmed. And then more recently, I think San Francisco, Chicago, and New York, and the city of Pittsburgh have now allowed small animals chickens, and they're limited on the number, and I've had people contact me about this, they have 9 acres and they wanted a lawn, I couldn't do it because they didn't have 10 acres. And twice people contacted me, they wanted to have chickens, and were precluded from doing it because they didn't have 10 acres. Eggs are up, I think, $6 a dozen now. And I think that we ought to look at this and start allowing this with a permit, of course. I mean, there have been people who have had ducks. 10 acres.
The leaves are starting to bite already.
But I just think that we're being a little bit silly now, and that we have to start allowing them. And I'd like to consider it, and I'll bring it up at the next meeting again.
If we could get a copy of some of the ordinances, I know I've seen in the paper, I can't remember when some municipalities have adopted them. It's nice to be able to read something like a model ordinance.
Well, I do have a little bit from that was in the paper, and I just didn't bring it with me.
Not the newspaper, I'm talking about the actual.
I understand what you're saying, that the city of Pittsburgh permits, I think, up to 5 chickens if you have a 5,000 acre lot. And if you have a 10,000 acre lot, you can have, what? Oh, sorry, I didn't excuse me. You can have a miniature goat that's been dewormed. And I just think that it might be of interest. Is there any interest in residents here in this?
Nope. About cats. All right, if we can get some model ordinances to review, that'll get us started. All right, now we've got just general comments.